Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews today. I do appreciate you stopping by today. Today's beer comes from Mother's Brewing, and these guys make some tasty beers. This is their Imperial 3 Blind Mice. This is the 2016 edition, bottled on January 27th of 2016. Sent to me by Mr. Fudge. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. Awesome beers that you sent. Some of them have a little age on them, but stuff I can't get here. So, monster beer mail package that cost an arm and a leg to buy and an arm and a leg to ship. So I do appreciate that. This is a 9.9%er for the 2016 edition, and a lot of times on these bigger beers, the ABV changes from batch to batch or year to year. When I looked it up, I tried to find the 2016 edition. Of course, Beer Advocate puts them all in the same category. And they have it at 9.6%. And this one's a little bit bigger than that, at 9.9%. And he's telling me it's 38 IBUs on the back of the bottle. And it was bottled on, like I said, January 27th of 2016. And a lot of times Untappd has a different years listed. I couldn't find that for this particular one. When I typed in 2016 for this one, they returned the barrel age or bourbon barrel version of it. And it was a little bit more ABV than this one. So I could not find the 2016 listed on Untappd. It is what it is, and Untappd also has it at 9.6% with 38 IBUs. This is a 9.9%, so I think the IBUs are pretty close to that, but the ABV is wrong on both sites, especially for a 2016 edition, which is not listed on either site. So, 9.6, 38 IBUs. The commercial description says Imperial 3 Blind Mice. Once Mother's little brown bear is now all grown up and running the show. Rich and full-bodied with chocolate, coffee, and caramel malt flavors, it bestows a noble hop nose and balanced finish on its loyal subjects. This is one regal brew fit for a king out on the town or home in the castle. Well, I'm home in the castle, and I wouldn't drink a beer of this magnitude out on the town unless I had a designated driver, guys. This is a big bottle, a 22-ounce bomber, but the ABV is wrong on both sides. This is a 9.9. It is kicking the door down to be a 10%er. So just drink responsibly, guys. You should not be having this beer. One of these is probably enough to get a DUI in the state of Virginia. So just drink responsibly. Don't want to see you get hurt, arrested, or hurt any innocent people. Final beer of the evening for me. Should be a very tasty beer, because I am very impressed what Mother's does, especially on these bigger beers like this. I cannot get their beers here, so I am very appreciative when I get them sent to me. So, Mr. Fudge, thank you again. You are awesome, sir. This should be a tasty beer, guys. I mean, it really should, especially coming from Mother's and being an almost 10%er. And being a Imperial or a double brown ale, I do love those beers, guys. I really do, especially when they're in this magnitude. Now, I would probably like the bourbon barrel version a little better than this, but because that's me. I like those bourbon notes. So if you want a little bourbon in this one, put you a jigger or some kind of your favorite bourbon in there, and you'll kick it up a notch or 12. So, And I used to do that. I have been known, I have some bourbon sitting on the shelf over there that I have done that to kick it up a notch, or 12. So depending on what you want to taste in your beer and where your palate is, and what you like to drink, and how much alcohol you want to drink, you can modify it or adjust it and make it what you like. So that's a good thing about this. So we've got everything covered here on this one, so it is time. Let me mark this bad boy off. And we are going to start pouring. And this, like I said, is a big bottle. Not a cheap bottle to buy, I am sure. Nice hits. A lot of smoke coming out of it. Very impressive. Into the glass we go. And being almost 10%, we're going to pour it pretty close to straight down the center. And there we go. There it is. Not much of a head. About a quarter finger of head on that pour. It is pretty dark, guys. Not a light coming through it. Maybe a slight hint of some ribbiness on the thin part down here, but it is super cloudy even down there. So, very dark beer. Not quite to the stout category. It's got a lot of brown hints on the thin part of the glass and when I was pouring it. So, and the head is already dissipated. It's barely covering the top of the beer. To the nose we go. Rich roasted malt. Hints of caramel and toffee and molasses. Not getting a lot of chocolate or coffee or any kind of dark fruit. There is some toffee and caramel in there. And they're claiming it's full-bodied. I'm not getting that on the nose. It smells a little thin on the aroma. But let's find out. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Mr. Fuds. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. Don't think I would put it in the full-body category. Medium body. But like I said, this is a 2016 and we're in 2019. 17, 18, 19. This is over 3 years old in the bottle. It might have been a little fuller bodied then. I don't know. I haven't got a fresh one to compare it to or had a fresh one to compare it to. Tasty beer, decent beer, but not quite to the world class or outstanding category at this stage of the game. But this beer should sell very well. And if you're trying to get some coffee or chocolate notes, you might want to drink it a little fresher. Because coffee does fade if they've used any in it, or they're trying to get those coffee notes and chocolate notes from the malt they've used. And they may come out a little bit more as it warms up to room temperature, which we will do. I will say I probably like Mother's stouts a little better than what I'm liking this one so far, but it is cold right out of the fridge. We need to reserve judgment and let this come up to room temperature and sip on a little bit, and we'll come back and figure out where it's going to end up. Alright guys, I'm back. I sipped on it a while, shared a little bit with the other half. And she was okay with it. She wasn't super impressed, and neither am I. And very disappointed that Mother's is a really impressive brewery, but just leaves a little bit to be desired. Now that it's warmed up to room temperature, I am getting the raspberries, some berry notes for sure on it. Tasty beer, but I don't even think it's into the A category, which is surprising to me. It is a decent beer, but not world class or outstanding or anything like that. Like I said, little disappointed with this one. This is probably not something that I would buy if it was available here. I'm expecting a little bit more from a, and Beer Advocate is calling it an American Strong Ale. Untapped is calling it an Imperial Double Brown Ale. So they can call it what they want. To me, it's a little muddied, whether either style that you're wanting to put it in. The alcohol is well hidden for an almost a 10% beer, and the raspberries are there now. It's warmed up, and the caramel toffee notes are there, and the roasted malt is there. But I have had better brown ales, and I've had better American Strong ales. So, like I said, I'm a little disappointed. It is a tasty beer, but I don't even think it's quite to the A category, to be honest about it. And with that being said, I probably would not buy this beer, even though it's into the ABV range and the style that I'd like to purchase. It's not a bad beer by any means, but it's just not up to the standard that I consider mothers to be able to do. Now that it's warmed up, the raspberry notes are really there. It is a very tasty. I don't think it's a full-bodied beer. It's more of a medium-bodied beer. It don't taste quite as thin now as it did cold out of the fridge, now that it's warmed up. But I'm sure it's a well-made beer. So I don't know if the 2016 age has anything to do with that aspect of it or not. If it was more tasty in 2016 when it was bottled than it is now in 2019, I'm not sure, because I've not had this particular beer before, and I've not had a fresh version of it before. So it is what it is. Final chug. It does have a very pleasant raspberry notes to it now that it's warmed up. I wasn't getting that much when it was cold, and I think it's just a little bit nicer mouthfeel now that it's warmed up than it was cold out of the fridge. And for a almost 10%er, the alcohol is very well hidden. So I know that's a well-made beer, because these guys and mothers do some really tasty beers, and I don't think they make a bad beer. And this is not a bad beer, but I just don't think it's quite to the A category, guys. So B plus for me, 88 is where I'm going to put this. Over to Beer Advocate, they say 3.72. That's in the upper range of the B category. It's not even a B plus from those guys. So I'm giving it a better grade than that. And over to Untapped, they have it at 3.87. That is into their B plus range, and I agree more with that rating than I do with the Beer Advocates on this particular one. But both of them have a 9.6% listed, when this is a 9.9%. So we're trying to compare apples to oranges, because I don't know what these guys are basing it on, and especially when Untapped don't have the 2016 edition listed for the regular version and not the barrel aged version. So I would probably love to get my hands on a barrel aged version of this beer to see how much better that is, because it's up into the 10 plus range on the barrel aged version as opposed to this one. So I don't know if the 2016 edition has faded or diminished. I wouldn't think so in this style and this ABV, because these beers usually sell very well, but not super impressed with this. If you're a big raspberry fan, you may really like this, because the raspberry notes come out more prominent once it comes up to room temperature than they did when it was cold out of the fridge. So I am getting those, but not a lot of dark fruit or anything like that. So it is what it is, and I appreciate being able to get to try it. So Mr. Fudge, thank you again. I can't thank you enough for all the wonderful beers you have sent me, and I do appreciate it, sir. So with that being said, if you've had the 2016 edition recently from Mothers Brewing, this is their Imperial 3 Blind Mice. Let me know what you think. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.